the major problem with MicroStrategy, this is not some flashy like, hey, this is the problem that's going to cause them to go to zero. I'm just thinking about this as someone that has some shares of MicroStrategy, something that I don't see a lot of people talking about, if any. That could just be like a drain on your portfolio versus just buying Bitcoin right now. So we'll talk about that. We'll also be going through the weirdness of the market right now with oil jumping up, then plummeting, then coming back, then the market's jumping around today as well. We have a big earnings week, so we'll hit on that. And we have the Clarity Act on base. So we'll talk about all that. If you don't mind, hit subscribe so you can see future videos just like this. If you want to trade crypto, check out the links underneath the video. There's a link to Ubit. Right now you can sign up and get a juicy bonus. And we're also doing this thing where every week, depending on if you hit these certain standards, you can get up to 50 USDT, $50 a week for a while. Then also there's this trading event on BidFi, which BidFi has got to be the best bonuses that I've ever seen for ongoing clients. Like anyone that's ever signed up through me can get up to $10,000 basically a month just for trading on the platform, and you only need to trade. There's like no deposit requirement or anything like that. So check that out underneath the video. There's also a link to BTCC where you can get a 10% deposit bonus. All this is in the link tree. They're on their platforms. You can also trade stocks as well. So check those out. Now, as we can see, the NASDAQ up about 0.5%, was up more like right after the market opened, and then again a couple hours later. Now it's kind of come down near session lows. The Dow is actually negative on the day. We have oil, which was much higher. It actually went to $90 per barrel. This was last night. Now it's come down a little bit. It went down 3% as Secretary Rubio signals that Iran wants to negotiate. But then we just heard from Trump that every time Iran kills a soldier, they will pay. So it's like back and forth. Reuters reported that Pakistan and Qatar were trying to create a 10-day framework for ceasefire. And, initially we had a 60-day ceasefire with the June MOU that has been violated. So it's just like impossible to know what's going to happen in the Middle East. It's impossible to know even who runs Iran. It's possible to know what Trump's going to do. So I just keep on buying good quality assets and then holding it through the volatility. Speaking of holding through volatility, Michael Saylor, he announced yesterday, or he said like what's going to happen next, and showed their accumulation chart. Today they announced Strategy has increased their USD reserve by 225 million. Didn't buy any Bitcoin. Now they hold $3.2 billion in the USD reserve. What did they do? They sold common shares to do this. Now, if I remember right, MSTR is like right at our value or maybe even slightly below. So they sold $263 million worth. They still have a lot more that they can't sell, like $23 billion worth. This is the problem that I see with MSTR, right? So you have this company that originally was selling shares to go buy Bitcoin, right? And then they got cheap debt and to go buy Bitcoin. So they were like a levered product where they could get very cheap debt and then buy Bitcoin with it, basically 0%. They've moved away from that, and now they don't have debt, but they have shares that they have to pay 13% on. And I think of that similar to like, okay, if you had 13% interest rates on your bonds, right? Or 12%, right? It's kind of a major drag. And just thinking about today in the car, let's say they're worth $1 billion, right? The way that they make sense of it is, hey, we're going to be able to sell these shares, and we're going to get better than a 12 or 13% rate of return. We're going to get something like, let's say 20%. And then we make that 7% difference or 8% difference. The problem is that's thinking about this in dollar terms, right? You start thinking about in Bitcoin terms, and okay, let's say they are selling shares, right? They sell shares, they're worth $1 billion. Let's say they sell another $1 billion of shares, so they double, and then they go buy Bitcoin with it. Well, they can't actually buy all Bitcoin with it because now they have dividends that they have to pay on that $1 billion. So maybe they pay, maybe they double their shares and they buy like $900 million worth and then keep $100 million in reserves. And then let's say they can't sell any more shares for a year, right? So they pay that 10, 12%. They basically pay that cash that they had. They're now worth 1.9, or they have $1.9 billion worth of Bitcoin, but the market cap was $2 billion when they sold the shares. So now maybe they dilute again. And then they have this constant drag on their business, constant drag on MSTR. So for MSTR holders, you're constantly diluted. So, I mean, this is beneficial if they're selling at a premium, but otherwise, yeah, this could be a big drag on MSTR stock long term because they have to pay this money. And again, like in dollar terms, it might make sense because they might be able to get a higher rate of return. But in Bitcoin terms, like you're constantly gonna have this drag. So I don't know. It's kind of an interesting a way to think about it. Let me know if that makes sense to you or if I'm just going crazy here. But I just don't like companies that don't have really strong balance sheets. So I think Therre and Strategy will be fine. I think this is more of a trading vehicle in my mind than like a long-term investment that I'd want to be in for decades. But if they can come up with some businesses around this that actually have cash flow and then maybe support the dividend or something instead of them just having to constantly dilute shareholders, maybe it would make sense then. Let me know your thoughts though underneath the video. Again, I think they'll be able to make it out of this bear market. STRC, I haven't looked up in a little while, but it's still right around the upper 80s mark. It's been stuck right around $87 to $88 for a while. We have a big earnings week. Tesla and Alphabet announcing earnings after the close on Wednesday. Tesla, still a pretty expensive stock when you look at basically any metric. It's over $1 trillion and it's at a multiple 100 PE ratio, 340 PE ratio. Google, obviously one of the largest companies in the world. I think it's top 2 or 3 right now. And we'll be able to see a lot of information about the AI trade, which is going to be interesting. Alphabet, also one of my largest holdings, one of my top 2 biggest stock holdings right behind Amazon. So be interesting to see what they have to say, how quickly they're growing. Now we have the Clarity Act talked about on CNBC. The Democrats have obtained meaningful concessions to make what was already a strong consumer protection bill that much stronger. So details on classification as commodities versus securities, stablecoins and yield, consumer protection rules, and ethics provisions will all be likely to be in this new version of the Clarity Act. So we have time running out. In 3 weeks, the U.S. Senate leaves for an August recess. There are a total of 15 sessions left in which a Clarity Act could be passed, 5 of them this week. So a lot of people are looking at this. Again, I'm not holding my breath thinking that this is going to get done here in the next few weeks. I fully imagine that this will take until towards the end of the year because it just always seems to take longer than people expect. We're most likely going to bottom around October, November if past cycles are any indication. So it would make sense to me that it would be right in that time frame. Let me know your thoughts, though, underneath the video on all this. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you want to trade, check out the link tree, and I'll see you in the next video. Just a reminder, this is not financial advice. This is not legal advice. Do your own research. I'm never going to reach out to you either in the comment section or through any other means to try to get you to invest in something that I'm investing in or to send me crypto. Some links underneath the video are affiliate links. I may earn a commission, but this is at no extra cost to you. Of course, do your own due diligence.